go.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Francis with Rock and Ice, and I've got a special visitor today, and it's Kolin Powick, who is the head category engineer for Black Diamonds.
Not even close.
Okay. All right, give it to him.
Climbing category director.
Climbing category director. Yeah. Same thing, right? So basically, Kolin, you you oversee all the climbing gear, technical stuff, slings, crampons, axes, everything.
Anything climbing falls under me other than apparel.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for coming today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so reason we got Kolin on today is because they're launching something big. They got some new cams, and I'm going to let him talk about that. But before we do that, I heard you got a finger injury. So tell me how you got injured and where you've been climbing lately.
It's not that dramatic. First finger injury of my life. Climbing almost 30 years. Just this past weekend, climbing at Maple, a route that I've literally done 100 times. Literally. And just crimped on this thing and heard a little pop, and it's not too bad, but I'm not going to be climbing today.
So how do you climb 30 years and not pull a tendon?
I don't try that hard. That's the key.
That's what we thought, yeah. Try hard.
Smart.
No, smart. That's good, because I'm always getting injured and stuff.
Well,
you're lucky, man.
I've got lots of overuse injuries, but it was my first finger injury.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And so is Maple. So what's your favorite spot? You're in Salt Lake City, where BD headquarters is. Yeah. And so what's your favorite spot there?
Well, there's lots of climbing right around Salt Lake that we can climb before and after work, so that's great.
Nice.
And then there's, Maple, City Rocks, the Tetons aren't far. I'm more of an alpine guy, so up to Canada to climb ice in the winter, bugaboos, whatever. But around Salt Lake, Maple's a great summer spot.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sport climbing.
Actually, I haven't been to Maple yet, so shame on me. I know.
Oh, it's
bad.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's fun climbing.
I need to go.
It's fun climbing.
I need to go. Right on. All right, so let's get to it. So Kolin, okay, so what do you guys got for us? Tell us what you guys are launching.
So, showing at the trade show coming up and available next year, so spring of 2020.
So that's when people could buy them. When you say so, spring 2020.
Yeah, so February.
February 2020.
February of 2020.
Okay.
Is the new Z4 Camelot. So this replaces the X4, which we know and love, and the C3 has slowly been phasing out anyway.
Okay.
From a practical perspective, this really replaces the C3 and the X4.
Got it.
It's a full line down to a number 0, which is our smallest cam we've ever made.
And this could be the smallest cam out there. We don't know yet, but this could be the smallest cam out there, potentially.
So it's smaller than our 000 gray C3. It goes smaller than that.
Yep.
Up to the 0.75.
Yep.
And then also a full set of offsets, starting at the 0.1, 0.2.
Right on.
All the way up to the 0.5, 0.75.
Sweet. Okay. All right. So I got one of these guys here. I got a couple set, and so we'll be giving a full test of these things. I haven't used them yet. I'll use them today, most likely. But all right. So give us some of the top 3. Not top 3. Give us some of the main things you guys have done.
So
for the Z4s here.
Couple cool things. So 4 cam units. Typically, people like 3 cam units because the head width is narrower.
Yep.
And what our guys have done, our engineering team has done on these, is a 4 cam unit with the same head width as a 3 cam unit. So that's one thing that was pretty cool to.
Now, how did you pull that off? Because I know you like talking about
this magic.
Stuff. Yeah, I'm sure. Actually.
Yeah, they use magic, and they use lines and engineering and drawings, and then they do it.
Actual science.
Yeah, they use actual science. So 4 cams in the width of a 3 cam unit.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Yep. So I guess the 3, it kind of meets the C3. So you can kill the C3 because in one sense you've met that, that requirement.
Part of it, right? Yep. Exactly. So in general, people really like the C3 because it's, I always say, like surgical precision placement. Like it's pretty stiff.
Yeah,
so
it is.
It's easy to place and it's easy to retract. When we were working with our athlete team 2 years ago on this cam project, it was just the start of the whole thing. They like the way that a C3 places because it's stiff, and then they like the way that an X4 once it's placed because it's flexible.
Yep.
But the problem with the X4, and this one's been obviously tweaked, is that it can fold when you try to place it.
Yeah, especially after a lot of use.
Exactly.
This starts to wear down a little bit. Yep.
So what they were saying is if you can make a cam that's stiff when you place it, but flexible to reduce walking after it's been placed, that would be the holy grail. So our guys took that and landed here.
So that was so you guys are, when you're designing this cam, because I know the R&D process can go out years, so those are, you literally thought about a single cam that could do both those.
That was the goal.
That was the goal. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
Absolutely. And we had, that was Hazel, Sam, Babsy, Carlo, I think, we're all sitting with our cam team saying, wouldn't that be cool if?
Cool.
And then our cam team went away and went through all these different iterations. This is only
we'll show this.
part of
We'll
them.
show this on camera. You guys can see all the iterations.
Bunch
he's
of
going
different
through and
ways
stuff.
to get here. And the way they arrived at stiff when it's placed, or stiff to place it, and then flexible once it's placed, it's you'll have to get a nice close-up shot. But this trigger is attached here, and there's these 2 wires that go down either side. So when you pull the trigger, those wires are now in tension, and that stiffens the whole unit. So trigger's pulled, unit is stiff. Trigger's not pulled, you see those wires, because they're independent, there's no tension, so it's allowed to flex. So we call it the rigid flex stem. We got a couple patents on these Z4s. Z4s for the Canadians out there. I've been getting in trouble about that, because I'm Canadian.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask the obvious question, because I think a lot of people are gonna pick up this cam and be like, that's gonna break. So I know that you've tested this thing probably. So like, how tough is this, for all lack of proper accordion type, right? Rigidity system.
This is where we got the name Z4 from. From that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So it's hard to quantify something like that. At BD, we have some super tech science engineering going on, like legit, and experiments and lab testing. And then we also do some total Conan the Barbarian kind of stuff,
just smash shit.
where we literally freeze this to minus 30 Celsius and smash it with a yo hammer against a piece of concrete, and it doesn't break.
Wow.
So I always say, like, if you try hard enough, you can break anything.
Yeah.
But all the field testing, which we've done a lot of on this product, we haven't had these things break.
Wow. That's pretty sweet. Yep.
So the so that kind of it's not structural. It kind of houses,
right?
it just houses the wires that give this rigid flex stem that feature. So that's one of the cool features. So narrow head width, this feature, which is really cool. And then on the larger units, all but the 2 smaller ones, we have this. It's a 1-piece cable that comprises the stem, and it's twisted.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. So, we'll get a close-up of that. But so when you're looking at this cam, you notice that the 2 wires, they're wrapped around each other. So that's what he's kind of explained. We'll show you a close-up on that.
And the twist is basically to allow it equal flex no matter what direction.
Now, why did a single cable not do the same thing?
We should get our engineering guy that discovered this.
Yeah, that's an engineering question.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, the littler guys, we couldn't fit in the 2 cables because they're so narrow.
Got it.
So the little guys only have the single stem.
Okay.
But we made it stiff enough to avoid buckling, like this X4 that I had, which again is exaggerated. But this is buckling. When you try to do that, that's the buckling. And we made this stiff enough that you can really reef on the trigger and it's not going to buckle.
Okay.
Yep,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. Sandblasted head. So
sandblasted lobes. Sandblasted lobes are new. Different materials benefit more from having sandblasted lobes than other materials. So a lot of people ask, why do we not sandblast the C4s that we just came out with this year?
And maybe just explain to people what sandblasted means. I think you have a sense, maybe you blast some stuff with sand.
So,
what does that mean?
That's exactly what it means. So to get the color on the lobes, it's anodized. That's just the process it's called to give it the color. And then sandblasting is literally blasting it with sand to remove the anodize. That's how we remove it.
Gotcha.
And you remove it in order to get better friction, better stability in a placement, better friction in the placement.
Okay.
So the material used on these small cams is different than on the big cams. So it benefits more by removing the anodization, and it gives it a better bite, basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the C4s don't have sandblasted lobes, basically because the benefit isn't worth it.
Got it.
And for spring 20, again available in January, we are going to sandblast the lobes on our ultralight cams.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be the only change in the ultralights for spring 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the other thing we were talking about prior to this interview is extendable slings. Colin's not a fan of them.
Not a fan.
Okay, this is your chance to tell to the climbing world why there are none. Because, again, people ask that a lot. And I think we've actually critiqued cams on that very point ourselves.
And I've talked to you guys about that.
So set the,
So I've written an article on the BD website about this, basically. But in summary, Well, there's a couple different reasons. One is, and when I say it's me, but it's we, like it's a collective thing at Black Diamond. We don't, nobody just sits in an ivory tower and makes these decisions. It's a team. It's a team.
Engineers
thing for sure.
and testing.
Yeah,
and
everyone,
stuff. Yep.
field testing, all that stuff. When we were developing the original looped C4 with the thumb loop, the one before that had a steel thumb swage, and it was just a single loop. And we first started with just a loop like that, and we discovered that in a not that extreme of a fall, what can happen is the cable will pinch down on the single layer, and it'll cut the webbing at a lower load than we were happy with. So that's a single webbing. So when it's doubled and extended, that can still happen. But what's more likely to happen with the extended is if you take a fall, it's not going to cut the webbing, but it's going to tweak the thumb loop.
Right, so you're going to get some deformity.
Exactly.
In the cable.
It's going to tweak it, exactly. And for your standard Indian Creek whipper, or whatever it is, you don't want to have a tweaked cam after one fall.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It sucks. So we came up with this double thick loop that's on all our cams in order to distribute the load more. So you can whip on these things all day and you're not gonna tweak it.
Interesting.
Another reason that we collectively aren't a fan of the double slings is it just clutters up your rack. There's just more, you just got a lot more going on. And in most cases, does it help? For sure, if you extend it, it helps reduce walking a little bit. But really, you probably want a shoulder length sling anyway. So we find like the advantage isn't really there. So we are sticking to the standard length, double sewn thick, so you don't get the tweak.
So it's a thoughtful decision. You guys are fully aware.
Yeah, and some people are going to
know.
disagree. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is how we roll it. People ask if they send them in if we will sew a double sling on there, and we won't. Because we only replace slings in the way that they came out of the factory.
Sure, yeah, it's like a insurance,
it's just we gotta release it the way it was originally, basically.
Interesting.
But that's a great question, and we get that question all the time.
Let's see. So, like, in terms of like your wish list, so obviously, I asked Colin to bring in a bunch of stuff about prior cams and the evolution of cams because I know he's an engineer who loves this stuff. So, all right. So, out there, question: in 20 years, right? What could these things look like? So the trend that we've seen, obviously Rock and Ice and myself, things get lighter, the technology gets better, the materials get better. Yeah. And like, any idea? Like, where do you think cams are going to go?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, we should really ask our design team because those are the guys that live this stuff. I'm on the periphery. But for sure, weight is always a thing, right? Like, I always laugh when we talk to these older school legend guys that are legit climbers climbing stuff with 10 mil ropes and 6-pound Joe Brown helmets and all this stuff. And we are all weak and we suck. All our stuff is so light and so
That's true. That's a damn truth.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And
we complain if our like cams are like 8 grams heavier than the last iteration.
And it's just like, really, these guys are doing this stuff with hexes and stoppers or just running it out, know. But
that's right.
But weight is probably where this is going to go. Different material, composites, who knows, There's a point where I always think about this with ropes. If somebody gave you a piece of dental floss and said it was certified and tested and you could whip on it all day, it'd take a while for you to get there.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
So there's a point where, having something a little meaty in your hand helps.
A little weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, but I do think weight is probably going to be the thing that changes these things over the next couple of years. They'll just be new funky materials that we'll figure out how to use.
Yeah. Interesting. Anything else you want to tell us about these new things that we may have perhaps left out?
I don't know. There's a lot going on. The offsets are something. I'm on this personal crusade.
Oh, tell us about the color of the sling on the offsets as well. That's kind of nifty.
Okay, yeah. So the colors, just like the X4s, the X4 offsets had unique slings. So the colors on the sling match the colors of the lobes. These particular ones we have, the slings are actually sewn backwards. So the purple should be on the purple side, and
interesting. Yeah.
But it'll be right.
And just so everyone knows, the reason you do that is because when you got a rack of like 10 cams or something on your harness, you can look at the sling and realize you got an offset.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about.
And the way that I roll, when I run normal cams, I run the same color beaner on the sling. And when I run offsets, I run black on all my offsets.
See, I'm lazy.
Good so you know it's different.
I'm lazy.
Yeah. But the beauty of the offsets, a lot of people aren't aware that offsets even exist, and a lot of people think that offsets are just for pin scars. When I think of it, they were kind of the Valley, Zion, aid climbing. That's kind of what they were for.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm a huge offset guy. I never leave the ground without a set of X4s and now Z4 offsets. There's more irregular cracks on the planet than there are Indian Creek splitters.
Yep.
And I'm just a huge fan of offsets. You can get not only pin scars, but all kinds of funky cracks.
Now, if someone who maybe doesn't have that much experience trad climbing, can you place an offset in a parallel crack and still retain the strength as like a normal cam?
No.
Okay. So the offsets are mainly, is what you're saying, obviously.
Yeah, offsets are made for cracks that aren't splitters. I mean, if you were to go down to Indian Creek, it would not be good with just a set of offsets. Yeah.
Yep. But anytime the thing flares, right, you get the...
Yeah, you want to try to have, equal distribution on the lobes, So yeah, that's a good question.
Some people just aren't sure, like you said. A lot of people don't know offsets exist or like what they're for. Like I have a rack if I'm going to the Valley. Yeah, I got pin scars and stuff. But outside of that, they're still really handy.
I take them everywhere. And I usually run like my C4 Camelots from like a 0.3 up, like regular full set. Yeah. And then I'll run these guys as like, because I get some overlap in the hard sizes for me.
Yep.
And I run the offsets.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so they've got new cams coming out in, let's see, we said February 2020. Yeah. No, the price point on these puppies. Everyone's gonna be like,
oh boy,
what do they cost?
I'm looking to my cohort.
John,
69. Yeah.
$69 a pop.
$69.95. Yeah.
Okay.
So $10 less than the X4s.
So that's good.
Yeah.
That's a benefit, right?
And it really is. It's a little magical. Like you don't really get what's going on until you have one in your hand, and then you don't really understand the benefit until you're actually out there.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Just like anything, yeah. You just got to play with it.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a pretty cool deal for sure.
And one thing I wanted to ask him about was.
So this is coming out in.
This is it's a new rigid, very, very.
So that's for special placements only. Limited edition. We've made one. And people love that. That's the 0.75 XL.
It gets you a little extra reach on those hard to get placements. It's the next level. They're just not ready to launch it yet. It's like this,
we got a little more work to do. Maybe we'll put the rigid flex stem on that one, and then it'll work a little better to get those placements. It's like a cheater draw.
It is
sport climbing. It's the cheater piece. Yeah, that's a popular one. That one.
All right, and so some final questions. You guys, what kind of trips you got coming up? That's my first question. The second question is, are hand jammies, crack gloves, aid climbing?
Okay, so first question, a little bit of climbing locally, a little bit of climbing in Europe, just a bit, and then hope to get back to my homeland, to the Bugaboos this summer.
Canada.
Yeah, homeland. Canada. Yeah, yeah. And if crack gloves are aid. Are rock shoes aid? Is chalk aid?
He's got a point. Yeah. Chalk is aid. Technically, it's all aid climbing.
It's all aid climbing. Yeah.
Okay, there's a man of logic. You just see right through it. Yeah. I love it. Yep. Okay. All right. I think that does it, Colin. Right?